Hello, 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 and good evening. If you are in Nigeria, I want to say good evening to you. But if you are not, let me just say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening wherever you are watching me from all over the world. And I want to specially welcome you to another live session with Simeon Umar on our weekly topic titled Wealth Life Experience. The theme is Wealth Life Experience, and under this theme, we're observing a very interesting topic, which is work and not inheritance leads to wealth. Work and not inheritance can actually lead to wealth. If you have been following me for a couple of days now, you will discover that I've been talking about wealth every now and then. And it is something that we need to be talking about. Just the way people talk about poverty, it's also important we talk about wealth because it should be a common language. I hope you agree with me. Just the way poverty is a common language, even though it is common among the poor. But you may not even see the word people talking about wealth on a regular basis. It talks about one singular thing. They talk about one singular thing, and that is idea. Idea. It talks about influence. It talks about influence. It talks about idea. It talks about innovation. It talks about something that will improve their life. It talks about something that will grow their investment. It talks about things that will promote their idea. And these are the things that create wealth. Fortunately, the poor people talk about money. It talks about money. But today, I'll be sharing a very interesting topic, which I title Work and Not Inheritance Creates Wealth. Work and not inheritance create wealth. And I believe you will agree with me with this concept, right? And I've also read a couple of books and many articles on the subject. And like I always tell people, wealth is not something that is owned or is associated to some people. Wealth, it is something that is available to everyone. It is not left for you to probably work towards attaining it, just the way poverty is also available for everyone. All you need to do is to go for what you want, either to be wealthy or to experience poverty. Wealth and poverty are respecter of nobody. It is left for you to choose where you want to belong to. And like I always tell people, both wealth and poverty are choices. You choose what you really want to, where you want to belong. And both can be taught. You can learn how to be wealthy and you can learn how to be poor. Probably you don't know this. Both can be taught. Yes. If you are find yourself in a poverty environment or in a poor environment, I beg your pardon, everything you'll be hearing is about excuses, complaint, lack, absence, criticizing, you know, condemning, and shifting blames, not taking responsibility, no vision, no major goals that you are pursuing. You sleep a lot, you give excuse, you are afraid, you don't have confidence, you don't set goals, you are not disciplined, you are you are you are chasing shadows. So these are the symptoms of poverty. And you learn them because you must have seen some people demonstrating these features. And directly or indirectly, you copy them automatically. Ignorance. These are symptoms of poverty. So, one way or the other, you copy or learn this pattern. And before you know it, you find yourself practicing the same thing that somebody have said or you've heard about people saying it. And so is wealth too. Probably you find yourself in an environment where people talk about idea, they talk about business, they talk about investments, they talk about experience, they talk about exposure, they talk about knowledge, reading, attending trainings and seminars. These are the symptoms of wealth. There is no way you will live in this kind of environment and you will not be wealthy. Because whatsoever that will be discussed in such environment will be towards investment, knowledge, sharing of ideas, creating business, investing in business, right? So there is no way you will find yourself in this kind of environment and you won't be wealthy. And nobody is born into poverty. Even if you have a poor background, that doesn't mean that you are poor. It is just unfortunate that what you hear repeatedly in your environment is about lack. It's about lack. You don't have, you can't afford it. It's too expensive. That is the regular languages. Those are the regular languages you hear or you hear in your environment. And as you grow up, you agree into all these mindsets and you begin to practice or say the same thing. So it's a product of what you've heard over a period of years or time that is also manifesting in your own life. And if you grow up in an environment where they talk about budgets, where they talk about planning, where they talk about, okay, how do we get it done? What do we do to achieve this? You see them setting targets or goals and they're achieving them, you realize that nothing is impossible in that environment. One way or the other, you carry the same mindset and you run with it. So, environment, place of birth, and experience has a whole lot of things to do when it comes to wealth creation. And I'm fortunate to also read a couple of books, biographies, sharing or listening or reading about people who have passed through both poverty, lack, and everything into wealth. And their experience and their teaching or knowledge have also impacted me greatly. And that is why I decided to organize a program like this, teaching people on how to create wealth irrespective of your environment, background, and your experience in life. If you are old, if you are young, if you are an adult, wealth is not a respecter of anybody. All you need to do is to practice some of the principles because wealth works with principle and not a miracle. You can pray from now to eternity. If you don't apply the principle of wealth, it will be impossible for you to experience wealth because it's not by miracle, it is by principle. And that is why I titled this program, or let me say this live session today, as Work and Not Inheritance creates wealth. Some people believe that wealth is connected to inheritance. Well, it is not 100% true because from what I've read and the people I've listened to, some of them, or let me say 80%, are not born into wealth. Even if they are born into a rich home, that doesn't guarantee that they are going to be wealthy eventually. We have some richest men of old that their children today, we don't even know them. And we have some children of poor people that are today are wealthy. The richest man that we have in Africa today, and of course, the black richest man, even though he experienced wealth, he had to borrow money to start his own business. And I strongly believe that he was not the only child of his parents, but because of his interest in business, investment, he started his business or started selling stuff at the age of 7 or 8, thereabouts. When he started selling, um, I've forgotten now, is it games or some children stuff at the age of 7, right? So it is important for you to know that wealth is a product of what you do. At the age of 7, he started selling cartoon games. I mean, at the age of 8, here is Dangote. At the age of 24, if I'm right, he started selling goods, consumable items at the age of 27 or 24. So it is not by accident, it is by work. It is not by inheritance, it is by work. Another person I also want to cite his example in Nigeria is Otedola. Otedola at the age of 7 started cutting nails for his father's visitors. As a matter of fact, when his boss, his father's boss, came visiting, he politely approached his father's boss and requested to render a service at the age of 7 or 8, between the age of 7 and 8. Before he did that, I strongly believe that he must have done for other friends of his father or people around his neighborhood before he got that confidence to approach his father's boss. Because a typical Nigerian, when you know that this is your father's boss, you want to kind of behave yourself. In fact, your father will probably resist you from carrying out some duties because he wouldn't want you to embarrass him before his boss. But his father allowed him, if he were to be in a poor environment, his father will probably caution him not to carry out such service. But his father allowed him to render his service. And because he has also built confidence over time, he saw another opportunity, which was his father's boss, to cut his nail. And when he finished this service, he went inside and drew an invoice and handed it over to his father's boss. He wrote the amount, and his father's boss paid him for the service he rendered at the age of 7. So Otadola started business when he was still a young boy. And because he was passionate about what he does, his father did not discourage him from doing such service. At some point, he had to quit his school and focus on his business. This time around, he was working for his father. His father did not discourage him, even though his mother had a reservation at a particular time. But they eventually allowed this young man to follow his passion, which was business at the time. He was not the only son. He was not the only child. He has other siblings. But because he has chosen to follow a particular path, his parents did not discourage him. Why? Because he's found himself in an environment that encourages business. If he were to be in a poor environment, they would have probably discouraged him, emphasizing his academic career. Go to school, get this grade, go and look for work, or get a good job, be a staff in an organization. That is poverty mentality. Today, Nigeria has one of the highest employees in the world. Close to 80 to 90% of Nigerians are underpaid employee, underpaid job, because we graduated with job mindset and not business or investment mindset. If you go to other countries like Israel, 60 to 70% of Israelis are business owners. The same thing with US. Africa, unfortunately, we have job mentality. and not work mentality. They are two different things. Job mentality is you waking up every day, going to office or your workplace to earn salary, to earn a living. Whether the job is okay or not, you are stick to it just because you are looking for money. You work 9 to 5 to earn salary. And at the end of the month, you still complain that this money is not enough. You are looking for salary increment. Meanwhile, your value is not really increasing. You don't have alternative. You don't have side strength. I don't call it side hustle. I call it side strength. You don't do anything outside your job. Even if you do, what you're after is money. It shouldn't be that way. Work is what you do to earn a living. Job is what you do to earn money. Let me just be very honest with you. If you are somebody who is looking for a job, you are looking for higher pay, you are looking for more money, while you are trying to get more qualification, is for you to get higher pay, not to get or start your own business or company. I'm not saying that you should go and start company by all means or business by all means. But the truth is, if you want to build wealth, if you want to create wealth, job will not create wealth for you. Salary will not create wealth for you. What will really create wealth for you is one, investment, two, business. Those are the two major parts to get wealth. Job will not give you wealth. Salary will not give you wealth. The only two things that can guarantee wealth is work and investment. Business, rather. Business and investment. Have you ever seen the richest man on earth that is earning salary? No. The richest man or richest man on earth has different businesses and investment. So it is very important you understand that creating wealth is not about any a higher salary or any high salary. It's about you running a business and investing in other businesses. These are the two pathways to wealth, not even inheritance. When I read the book written by Femi Otedola, Making It Big, I discovered that for you to be wealthy, you must demonstrate some level of competence, discipline, character, apply principles, follow certain standard, and be consistent. And more importantly, you must be ready to deliver value that people can pay in exchange. Integrity is very important. Transparency. Because these are the components that the customers or clients are going to leverage on or they are looking for before they can part with their money. So it is very important for you to understand that Wealth creation starts with work, which is business or investment. No matter how high you are being paid at your place of work, it can never be enough for you to create wealth. That may be a starting point because I was once in that category. I worked in an organization for years, but I've never experienced wealth. I've never tasted wealth until when I confidently, courageously, with determination, tender my resignation and pursue my passion. And I didn't just pursue my passion, I discovered problem, opportunity in a sector, and I began to create value. I began to create services, opportunity that people can see, appreciate, solve problems, and they begin to pay for it. And then to create work for myself that will also lead me to wealth. It is very important for you to understand this concept. When Femi Otedola released his book, a lot of people criticized him that this is not the kind of book that people should be reading because this man came from a wealthy background, came from a rich home. He has everything working for him. He was a son, he is a son of former governor of Lagos State. But there was somebody, this Femi Otedola was once a son of someone who was an employee to another employer or company. He didn't grow as a wealthy guy like we all know or read about. At some point, until the book came out, I also have this assumption that he was this, he was that. But I had to also ask myself some valid questions. Let's even assume that he came from a wealthy background. Where are his brothers? Where are his sisters? Nobody heard about them. Nobody knows them. I've never heard anybody bearing Otedola apart from Femi. He has brothers, he has sisters, from what I read. But where are they? But because he chose a different path, that is why we could see him or hear about him today. And everything didn't work for him when he started. He had his own challenges, he struggled, but he developed resilience. He developed principles. He developed strong character. He built his business on integrity, reliability, honesty, trust, because these are the criteria that can sustain any business empire. And not that alone. Having started a business, he also wanted to go global. He didn't start small and remain small. He started small and began to think big. He's now advising you and I to also think big, even though we are starting small. So it is very important for you to understand this basic principle of wealth. That irrespective of your background, irrespective of your environment, irrespective of your current location, you can decide to be wealthy. It is a decision. Even if your current environment is worse and terrible, everything in this life starts from your mind. You can choose to change your location. You can choose to change your environment. You may not have choice where you were born, who gave birth to you. You may not have choice over those factors. Where you were born, who gave birth to you. Nobody has that choice. But to remain rich or poor, it is your choice. If your current circumstance is not giving you what you are looking for, you have a choice to determine where you want to be in the next 3 to 5 years. If your current standard is not commensurate with what you want to see in your life, you can decide that this is not how I'm going to end. You can make a decision now and begin to take practical steps and actions. It won't be easy. I must agree with you. I must share the facts because it's not so easy to build wealth. So also it's not easy to remain poor. So you need to determine in your mind that this is what I want to do, and this is how I'm going to do it to get to where I want to get to, I want to be. Unfortunately, many people fall victim of scam. Recently, I heard about NRC, National Reading Congress or something. You bring in certain amount of money for you to get return. And in less than how many months it crashed. People are looking for a quick way to build wealth. There is no quick or fast way to wealth. You have to be patient and you have to acquire knowledge. Any investment that you don't have enough knowledge before you go into it is not an investment. Do I say it again? Any investment that you have enough knowledge to venture into it is not an investment. And you can't really build wealth from such investment. Before you put your money in any investment, you must understand what you are putting your money into. You must have read vast enough. You must have acquired enough information and knowledge in that direction before you make decisions. So any investment that you don't have adequate information and knowledge about is not an investment. It is a scam or a scheme through which you are looking for quick returns or quick money. Because investments or wealth creation takes patience and time. So if these two are not applicable in any of our investment choice, then that is not the right path to wealth. Like I said, the people that I've studied over the years who are wealthy today started when they were young. Though age is not a barrier to wealth creation. If you are 30, 40, or even 50, the day you choose or decide to be wealthy, that is when you begin to ask yourself, how do I go about it? And when you know how to go about it and you take the right step and you follow through the principles that govern the wealth creation, you will definitely be wealthy, even if you are under curse. We have people that are under curse that are wealthy, and we have people that are blessed and they remain poor. So wealth is not a respecter of person, race, gender, or generation. It only works with people that apply principles that governs wealth creation. Now let me tell you three categories of work that I know. And if you want to build wealth, you must at least pass through one or two of these categories of work for you to be wealthy. The first type of work is what we call hard work. Growing up, we were taught to work hard to become wealthy. We are taught to work hard, and when the word hard work comes in, you use your physical strength to work. You use you depend solely on your physical strength to work hard. You can work morning, noon, and night. Carries or applying for different jobs. You work in the morning for one company A, you work for company B, you work for company C. You are just working hard. The more you work, the higher your expenses. You spend more. As your income goes up, your expenses also go up. You are working hard to make more money. The more you work, the harder your expenses, the higher expenses. As you are being promoted from your place of work, you want to move to another environment, you want to enjoy another life. You spend your money because you know that you are really working hard. You take 3 or 4 jobs believing that you will be wealthy. That is not the pathway to wealth. So we have been told to work hard. So if you are working hard to be wealthy, you are not different from somebody who is on the market on a regular basis to collect or carry goods for his customers. We call them alagbaru. They also work hard every day to collect 1,000, 5,000, 2,000. They work very hard. Okada riders, they work very hard. Road transport workers, they work very hard. So you are just a corporate hard work staff, corporate hard worker. If there's anything like that, you're in a corporate environment and you're also working very hard. But some people are also in the market, they're also working very hard because they also want to earn a living. So, two of you, there is no major difference. The difference is just that you are putting on suit and tie, corporate organization 5 to 9 or 9 to 5 or something. You are working really hard on your job. The people that work hard on their job will remain poor. It is only people that work hard on themselves that can create wealth. And how do you work hard on yourself? By reading, acquiring more skill, technical skill, soft skills, and applying those skills in relevant areas that will give you value in return. So for you to build or create wealth, you need to work hard on yourself, not on your job. So hard work is not as important as working hard on yourself. If you work hard on your job, you will earn less. But if you work hard on yourself, and that takes me to smart work. When you work hard on yourself, you begin to develop some skills, soft skills that will enhance your work. With your smart work, you can delegate. You know your strengths and your limitations. You can outsource certain things. You'll be more efficient when you work smart. You can use 1 hour to achieve a lot of tasks when you work smart. You will identify when, where, and how to delegate when you work smart. And how do you work smart? It is a product of working hard on yourself to understand your body system and how to also take advantage of the available resources you have. You maximize those opportunities to get greater results and value. That is about smart work. When you work smart, you have time to work more on yourself and develop more skills that can be more productive to you and the environment you find yourself. You can also be a staff in an organization and be working smart. And while you are doing that, you also identify areas where your skills can be more relevant. And you can now apply or request for a salary increment, even though that is not the pathway to wealth. Major pathway to wealth, correct that sentence. That is not the only pathway to wealth. But if you are very smart enough, you will know when to use your skill and when to delegate, when to outsource, and when to take responsibility. That is at smart level. At intelligent level, which is intelligent work. Intelligent work is your ability to be entrepreneur even in your organization. You know, we have what we call entrepreneur. We also have intrapreneur. At your intelligent level, you are no longer working hard, you are no longer working smart, but you are working intelligently. From your intelligence, from your skill, you are creating more opportunity within your organization. You are creating more value within your organization. So you are no longer depending on your salary. You are already depending on other value you are creating. And those value over time will now become source of more income for you. And when you leverage on your intelligence work, you can eventually resign your job and focus on those values you are creating. That is when you begin to build businesses. That is when you begin to invest in other places. That is when you begin to create more space or more time to be more productive to yourself and to the businesses or other investment that you have. The day you start controlling your time, you start using the time and not time using you, that is when you begin to be working intelligently. That is the level of intelligence. The level of intelligence is when you can choose how to use your time. You are not rushing because somebody is going to be penalized or you are going to be penalized for not carrying out certain things. But you are the one managing or using your available time to achieve certain things. You put work into time, and time eventually brings returns in form of money. You create value in time. You create service in time. You create product in time. All these things comes from intelligence work. When in time, the value you are creating are bringing resources, money, returns, revenue into your account regularly. At this level of intelligence work, you make intelligent decisions. You have intelligent conversations. You have business meeting, business talk, investment discussions. You attend programs that will add more value to you. At this level of intelligent work, you focus your attention on the things that are more productive and the things that will bring more revenue into your company. You are giving more value that people can actually pay for. At this level, you are actually working to earn a living. At this level, you are not working because you don't want to be fired. You are not working because you don't want to earn salary. You are working because you are rendering a service that people can pay for, even premium price. Because at this level, you already know what your clients want, what are appealing to them. You've acquired enough knowledge. You've acquired enough experience. You've gathered information. At this level, your brain are working and your body are at a condition where they are not overused. Your body system are properly taken care of. You are not under stress. You are not under any influence, duress, deadline that will take sleep out of your eyes. At this level, you know exactly what to do at every point in time. At the level of intelligence, people respond or come to you because of the value you have to offer. So until you get to that level of intelligence, it will be difficult for you to build wealth. And that is why I identify three major categories of work: hard work, smart work, and intelligent work. Our parents talked about hard work, and even till today, they still talk about hard work. But beyond hard work, there is what we call in smart work. And after smart work, there is what we call intelligent work. Even the intelligent worker, they still see themselves as somebody who work hard. No problem. But they know that the level at which they are working, they are getting higher returns. They are more productive at that level. They know when to delegate. They know how to delegate. They know who to follow through with. They know how to outsource because they know their strengths, they know their limitation, they know their threats, and they see opportunities. These are the this is a this is the intelligent level. And until you get to this level, it will be difficult for you to build wealth. So wealth is not a product of luck. It's not a product of inheritance, but it is a product of work. And you must go through these three categories of work for you to build wealth: hard work, smart work, and intelligent work. For a start, you can start with an organization or company and work for them for a period of years or time to acquire experience and knowledge until when you know that the skills you've acquired in that field is sufficient enough for you to set up your own company. Because to be very honest with you, salary can never build wealth for you because you always have much to spend and less to invest. That is the fact. Your employer will always chase profit and it will always depend on your skills, capacity, and competence to get more revenue. The worst they can do for you is to increase your salary. But before that increment comes, you must have contributed your skills, work very hard to grow the company's revenue for you to get certain percent of increase on your salary. And even with that increase, it won't be enough. So until you begin to create your own path, which people call side hustle, I don't call it side hustle. I call it side strength. Because in my former place of work, I created a side strength through which I earn extra income to build my career, to acquire more skill, and for me to set up a business, giving out value to people in exchange of their money. So the first part to create wealth is to create value that people can pay for. The first part to make create wealth is to create value that people can pay for. And by the time you do it consistently, you begin to see that your value give in return more money for you to expand and grow your business. When you expand and grow your business, you begin to create wealth. Because wealth creation is about giving value to people, rendering services and adding value to people, creating an enabling environment, building network and connection. Wealth is not about making money, it's about making impact. Wealth is not about making money, it is about making impact. And how do you make impact? Is by giving out value to people, both free and paid services. What I'm doing currently is free, but it is value. It will get to a point that people want to seek me looking for me to give them my advice on how to do certain things. At that level, they will be willing to pay certain amount for me to share my idea with them. So wealth is not about making money. It's about making impact. It's about solving problems. It's about identifying opportunity in an environment or situation and provide solution. So wealth is a product of work, and you must undergo these four or three categories of work that I just identified, which is hard work, smart work, and intelligence work. Wealth, it is not by any means a product of inheritance and not a product of luck. It is a product of work. And you must work in such a way that your value cuts across different demographics, different generations, different people, including your enemy. Because when it comes to business, your enemy must also be your customer. Because when you provide value for people, value has no friends or enemies. Value goes to whosoever wants or demands for it. So sit down and ask yourself, what kind of value can I generate or provide for people to pay for it? Until you get to this point, ask yourself, how can I begin to create my own wealth? What are the opportunities around me that I need to tap into? What are the problems that I'm going to solve in my immediate environment? The day you start thinking about that, that is when you begin to think on how to create wealth. Wealth goes to people who solve problems and not people who run away from problem or give excuses to things that is happening around them. Wealth is about solving problem. It's about networking with people. It's about identifying opportunities around you. It's about investment. It's about creating businesses, building businesses, serving people, providing value that many people can benefit from. And when they see value in what you are providing, they'll be willing to give you money in return. So until I come your way next week for another interesting topic, I want you to begin to ask yourself, how can I also become wealthy? What do I need to do to create wealth? How can I use my discipline, my career to create value that people can pay for? Wealthy people think about idea. Wealthy people think about idea. Poor people think about money. Stop thinking about money. Start looking for idea that you can refine and turn to value that people can pay for. So I come here next week. Keep thinking about how to solve problems that people can pay for. Thank you and God bless you. Bye bye.